One bone, one name, and a debate most people completely misunderstand. New York strip versus Kansas City strip. They look similar, they cook similar, they even come from the same primal. So why do people swear they're different? Is one actually better, or is this just marketing with a bone attached? I'm going to show you the difference between a Kansas City strip versus a New York strip, so you'll understand strip steaks better than most restaurant cooks. Most people don't ruin a steak on the grill, they ruin it right here at the counter. Choosing the wrong cut, the wrong thickness, the wrong structure. Same muscle, two different experiences. And once you see what actually separates them, you'll never look at a strip steak the same way again. Okay, so let's break it down. At its core, this is one of the most misunderstood steaks on the butcher counter. Because what you're looking at right here isn't two different cuts, it's one muscle. Before we talk bone-in versus boneless, you need to understand what a strip steak actually is. A New York strip and a Kansas City strip are not different muscles, they're not different animals, they're not even different sections of the cow. They are the same muscle, handled two different ways. The strip steak comes from the short loin. Short loin muscles are tender, flavorful, and juicy. From this same primal you also get the T-bone and the porterhouse. It's one of the most prized sections of the entire carcass. Strip steaks come from the short loin, right along the back of the animal, which is why they stay tender and consistent. The muscle itself is called the longissimus dorsi. A strip steak on one side, a fillet on the other. Two completely different textures separated by one bone. Compared to a fillet, the strip has more structure. Compared to a ribeye, it has less internal fat. That balance is what gives that firm bite and bold beef flavor. It's leaner than a ribeye, but more robust than a fillet. Now here's where things get interesting. When that strip is cut away from the bone, you get a New York strip. When it's left attached, you get a Kansas City strip. Same muscle, same tenderness, but the bone changes how it cooks. And that's where the real debate begins. So now that you know what a strip steak really is, let's talk about what the bone actually does. The bone is the most visible difference between these two steaks. But is it actually doing anything? Or is it just tradition dressed up as flavor? In steakhouses across the country, the bone-in strip is often positioned as the premium option. It looks dramatic, it looks substantial, and somewhere along the way, people started believing the myth. Everyone says the bone adds flavor. That's not why it works. What it really changes is how heat moves. Boneless rewards precision. Bone-in rewards forgiveness. When you cook a boneless strip, heat travels quickly and evenly from edge to edge. That gives you control, but it also gives you less room for error. With the bone attached, that side of the steak heats more slowly. It acts like a built-in buffer. Heat moves quickly through the meat and slowly through the bone. So as the exterior builds crust, the meat near the bone lags slightly behind. That delay protects the interior. The bone isn't injecting flavor, it's influencing thermal transfer. It changes the speed of cooking, not the taste of the muscle. And that difference shows up in texture, consistency, and doneness control, especially if your grill runs hot. So the bone doesn't give you flavor, it gives you margin for error. Whether you choose bone-in or boneless, quality matters more than the bone ever will. And this is where most home cooks get it wrong. A great strip steak should look alive, deep red muscle, clean edges, even structure. When you're at the counter, ignore the price first. Look for fine, evenly distributed marbling. Not big chunks of fat, thin white lines running through the muscle. That's what you want. Marbling equals moisture, moisture equals flavor. Thickness matters. An inch is the minimum. An inch and a quarter to an inch and a half is ideal. Thicker steaks give you control. They allow you to build crust without overcooking the center. And whether there's a bone attached or not, that thickness is what protects your doneness. Then there's grading. Prime has the most marbling. Choice is a solid middle ground. Select is lean and far less forgiving. If you're serious about cooking strip steaks well, start with choice or higher. Technique is where most strip steaks are lost. High heat, fully preheated grill. If your grill isn't hot, you're steaming, not searing. Season aggressively with kosher salt and cracked black pepper the night before. Then let the steak rest uncovered on a wire rack in the fridge. This is dry brining. Salt penetrates the muscle. Surface moisture evaporates, which means better crust tomorrow. Place the steaks over direct high heat. Don't touch them. Let the crust form. For a steak this thick, you're looking at about 3 to 4 minutes per side. Unlike the pan searing, you want to flip this one once. Control comes from patience. If you're enjoying these deep dives into how to cook a steak as good as any restaurant, I'd love for you to subscribe. It helps the channel grow, and it truly means a lot to me. Hit thumbs up, turn on notifications, and join me in the kitchen for more cooking adventures. You're going to want to pull your steaks about 5 degrees below your target temperature. Carryover cooking will finish the job. This is where the bone-in and boneless start to reveal their differences. Resting isn't optional. 5 to 10 minutes minimum. This is when the juices redistribute. Finish with butter, a pinch of flaky salt, and let the residual heat do the rest. This is where control turns into confidence. Now here's something interesting. After it's cooked, that bone comes off clean. Same muscle, same structure, just handled differently. Look at the interior. Edge to edge pink. Minimal gray band. The boneless strip cooks evenly. The bone inside lags slightly near the bone. That's the forgiveness we talked about. When you start with quality, control your heat, respect the rest. Either one can be exceptional. But let's be honest, there's something primal about the bone. So does the bone matter? Yes, but not the way most people think. It doesn't add flavor. It changes how the steak cooks. Boneless gives you precision. Bone-in gives you forgiveness. Same muscle, same quality, different experience. Bone-in or boneless? Which one are you cooking tonight? But if you really want to understand the short loin, we haven't even touched the most misunderstood cut yet. Join me in the next episode, T-bone versus porterhouse, and that difference actually does change the steak.